They say the ideal lover makes your heart skip a beat, but the ideal life partner, that's the one who helps your heart slow down and rest. In our 20s or early 30s, many of us chase spark, excitement, and the thrill of emotional highs. But somewhere along the way, we realize that peace is underrated. And sometimes the person who gives you that peace is the one truly worth keeping. There's a quiet kind of maturity that arrives when we stop looking for someone to complete us and start seeking someone to walk beside us. Choosing a life partner isn't about perfection. It's not about their resume, their background, or how impressive they are. It's about how they make you feel during ordinary days, when you're tired, unsure, or just being your unfiltered self. The real question is, do you feel safe, understood, and calm around them? From a more grounded and clear-eyed perspective, I want to walk you through this reflection. If you're thinking long-term, there are 7 kinds of people who, if you find them, are worth holding close. Let's take a deeper look, not to chase ideals, but to recognize what truly matters. The 7 kinds of people worth choosing as a life partner. 1, the one who lets you be yourself. There's a quiet kind of love that doesn't demand performance. You don't need to pretend to be stronger, smarter, or more composed than you are. With this person, you can exhale. You can have a bad day, say the wrong thing, or make mistakes, and still feel safe. You don't feel the need to hide your flaws or overcompensate for your imperfections. They see you, not the version of you that's polished and filtered for the world, but the one who exists when no one's watching. In a world that constantly pushes us to be better, it's easy to fall into the trap of thinking we're only lovable when we're perfect. But someone who is truly right for the long run doesn't love you despite your rough edges. They love you with them. Not because they're blind to them, but because they see who you're becoming and they want to walk with you through it. They don't rush to fix you. They give you the room to grow in your own time with gentle encouragement rather than forceful correction. Think of it like this. Loving someone who constantly makes you feel like you have to act tougher than you are is like wearing beautiful shoes that don't fit. You might look good for a while, but eventually it hurts to keep walking. True love doesn't make you feel smaller. It makes you feel more whole. When choosing a life partner, consider this. Can you be soft around them without fear? Can you be silly, vulnerable, emotional, and still feel respected? If the answer is yes, don't underestimate how rare and valuable that is. Because when life gets heavy, and it will, it's not the partner who always has the answers that brings comfort. It's the one who makes space for all versions of you, the messy, the tired, the evolving, and stays not out of obligation, but out of understanding. 2, the one who handles conflict with respect. Every relationship will face disagreement. That's not a flaw. It's human. The real test is not whether you argue, but how you argue. A life partner isn't someone who agrees with you all the time. It's someone who disagrees with kindness. A person worth building a life with doesn't yell when upset, doesn't resort to blame, and doesn't walk away mid-conversation just to win. They listen, not just to respond, but to understand. They can admit when they're wrong without shrinking their pride. And they can tell the truth even when it's uncomfortable, not to hurt you, but because honesty matters more than momentary peace. We often overlook this trait in the early stages of love because it doesn't sparkle. But long-term relationships are built in the day-to-day, and conflict resolution is one of the strongest foundations you can have. Imagine going through a hard week and knowing that when a misunderstanding arises, it won't turn into emotional warfare. Instead, you'll both come to the table with clarity, not cruelty. You'll leave the argument feeling closer, not more distant. That kind of emotional safety is rare and it's gold. Many of us grew up thinking that love should be passionate, fiery, dramatic. And while intensity can be exciting, it can also be exhausting. A partner who manages conflict with calm, reason, and mutual respect isn't boring. They're emotionally mature. They're the kind of person who can help build a future, one where neither of you has to walk on eggshells just to keep the peace. So if you meet someone who doesn't storm out when things get hard, who doesn't belittle or stonewall, who chooses dialogue over silence, and resolution over revenge. Recognize the gift in that. It may not be glamorous, but it's one of the truest signs of a partner ready for the long journey of life. 3. The one who takes responsibility for their words and actions. Promises are easy to make but hard to keep, especially when life gets inconvenient. That's why someone who does what they say, no matter how small the promise, is worth paying attention to. It's not about grand gestures or dramatic declarations. It's about the quiet consistency of someone whose word means something. We've all known people who promise the world in the moment, only to disappear when it matters most. But a partner who is truly reliable doesn't speak for applause. They speak with intention. If they say they'll show up, they do. If they make a mistake, they own it. They don't blame their past, their schedule, or the weather. They don't hide behind excuses. They understand that integrity is not situational. It's a way of being. This kind of responsibility builds trust slowly, one choice at a time. You start to feel safe, not because nothing ever goes wrong, but because you know they'll face things with you instead of walking away from them. If they say they'll be there when you need them, they don't disappear when things get hard. And that matters because in life, things will get hard. A small example says a lot. If someone follows through on something as simple as taking you to a doctor's appointment, they said they would. It says more than any poetic speech. It means that later in life, when you're not well or when everything seems uncertain, they're not likely to disappear. Their reliability today is a window into how they'll handle tomorrow. Choosing a partner who takes responsibility isn't about expecting perfection. It's about choosing someone who doesn't shy away from accountability. They admit when they mess up. They don't shift blame or pretend they didn't make a commitment. They see promises as bonds, not conveniences. In a world full of distractions and half-hearted commitments, someone who means what they say and stands by what they do is rare. But that's exactly why they're worth holding on to. 4. The one who respects your personal space. It's easy to romanticize the idea of two people being completely inseparable. But the healthiest relationships aren't defined by constant closeness. They're defined by mutual respect, including respect for each other's independence. A partner who honors your personal space understands that love doesn't mean control. They don't monitor your every move, question your friendships, or pressure you to change who you are to fit their comfort zone. They trust you, not because they've been given guarantees, but because trust is the foundation of any lasting relationship. Being in love doesn't mean you stop being an individual. You still have your own passions, friendships, routines, and boundaries. A healthy partner not only respects that, they celebrate it. They encourage you to pursue your hobbies, to spend time with people you care about. They don't feel threatened by your freedom because they're confident enough in the relationship not to see your independence as distant. It's a quiet kind of love, one that allows room to breathe. It says, I want you in my life, but I don't need to control you to feel secure. And that space goes both ways. You respect their individuality too. Together, you form a partnership that walks side by side, not tangled in each other to the point of suffocation. There's a quote that captures this perfectly. A healthy relationship is two people walking together, not two people stuck together. Love in its truest form doesn't erase your identity, it enhances it. When choosing a life partner, ask yourself, can I be fully myself in this relationship without guilt? Do I feel free to have my own life, my own thoughts, my own time, and still feel loved? If the answer is yes, you've likely found someone who understands that intimacy and independence are not opposites. They're partners in a well-balanced relationship. 5. The one who shares pressure and responsibility. Life isn't always fair, and it's certainly not always easy. That's why choosing a partner who shares the pressure instead of adding to it is one of the greatest gifts you can give yourself. In a world where we're taught to push through, to hang in there, it's easy to feel alone even when you're not. But a true partner doesn't just cheer you on from the sidelines. They step in. When you're exhausted emotionally, physically, mentally, they don't say, just hang on, or you're strong, you'll manage. They say, let me carry this part for a while. That shift changes everything. It could be something as simple as doing the dishes when you've had a long day, or managing finances as a team, not in silence or assumption, but with shared decisions and mutual respect. It's recognizing that marriage isn't a vacation, it's a joint project. And if one person is doing all the heavy lifting, it doesn't matter how much love exists. Exhaustion will drain it. We're not meant to go through life alone, nor are we meant to prove that we can do it all. Independence is important, but interdependence, the ability to rely on each other with trust, is what sustains a long-term relationship. You shouldn't feel guilty for needing help. A relationship isn't a test of endurance, it's a collaboration. And choosing someone who understands this, someone who steps in rather than steps back, is choosing a partner, not just a presence. This doesn't mean keeping score or expecting perfection. It means finding someone who knows that love isn't just about words, it's about showing up again and again. Especially when life gets hard. When both people give and receive, the relationship becomes a safe harbor, not just another storm to navigate. So if you find someone who quietly shares your burdens, emotionally, practically, financially, without making you feel like a burden, hold on to that. Because in the long run, it's not grand declarations, but quiet acts of care that keep two people standing side by side. 6. The one who tries to understand you, even if they don't yet. Let's be honest, being understood is one of the most comforting feelings in the world. But the truth is, no one will understand every single part of you from the beginning, maybe not even after years together. What matters more than instant understanding is genuine effort. Choosing someone who tries to understand you, consistently, patiently, with care, is far more important than choosing someone who assumes they already do. You don't need a partner who always gets it right away. You need someone who listens when you say, "This matters to me," even if they don't feel it the same way. Someone who doesn't tell you you're too sensitive or overreacting just because they don't share the same emotional language. Someone who's willing to ask questions instead of shutting you down. Understanding isn't just a personality trait, it's an intention, and that intention shows up in small ways. It's in the pauses they take before reacting. It's in the way they remember something that upset you last week. It's in the way they try to learn your patterns, your needs, your triggers, not to manipulate, but to connect. There's something incredibly tender about being with someone who admits, "I don't fully understand yet, but I want to." That willingness to lean in, even when it's uncomfortable, is a quiet act of love. Too often, people shut down when faced with emotions they don't understand. They deflect, they minimize, or they retreat. But a healthy relationship creates room for complexity. It allows two people to learn from each other slowly and imperfectly, without fear of being misunderstood forever. Because understanding is not a finish line, it's a daily choice. Some days you'll feel completely in sync. Other days you'll speak what feels like two different languages. But when your partner tries, truly tries, it becomes less about the destination and more about the journey of knowing and being known. So if you meet someone who doesn't run from your depth, who doesn't flinch at your vulnerability, and who stays curious about who you are, even years down the line, don't take that for granted. You don't need a perfect interpreter of your emotions. You need a willing translator. Someone who sees you as a book they want to keep reading, even if they don't understand every chapter right away. 7. The one who brings you long-term peace. Not everything in life needs to be loud to be meaningful. In fact, some of the most profound forms of love are the quietest. They don't always come with fireworks, constant excitement, or dramatic gestures, but they come with peace. And peace, over time, is what truly sustains us. There is a kind of relationship where you may not laugh all the time, but you feel safe all the time. Where silence isn't awkward, it's comforting. Where you don't need to perform or prove anything. You're simply allowed to be. And in that quiet, something powerful happens. You feel whole. This kind of person doesn't try to keep you entertained. They help keep you grounded. They may not be the loudest voice in the room, but they are the one who notices when you've had a long day and hands you a glass of water without asking. They may not fill every moment with words, but they're the one you want to come home to after everything else has fallen apart. Peaceful love isn't about the absence of problems. It's about the presence of emotional safety. It's the kind of love where disagreements don't turn into threats, where misunderstandings don't spiral into fear, and where your vulnerabilities aren't turned into weapons. It may not always feel like a romantic movie, but it feels like a home. Not a mansion, not a castle, but a quiet little house with the lights on, waiting for you. A place you return to, not because it's grand, but because it's yours. Because it's where your heart rests, not races. And perhaps that's the kind of love that lasts. Not the one that burns the brightest in the beginning, but the one that stays warm long after the spark fades. The one that holds you through life's noise and reminds you, even in silence, that you're not alone. Choose the one who brings peace. Not because life will always be easy, but because with them, even the hard parts will feel softer. Conclusion: choosing the right life partner. It's not difficult to find someone who says they love you. Affection, attraction, even deep emotional connection. Those things can appear more than once in a lifetime. What's rare and what truly matters is finding someone willing to walk the long road with you. Someone who doesn't just love you, but grows with you. Real partnership is not built on fleeting sparks or grand gestures. It's built on shared values, mutual respect, and the quiet, consistent decision to stay, especially when it's not easy. Love becomes lasting when it's accompanied by effort, understanding, and direction. Not just two hearts beating fast, but two lives moving in the same direction, with the same intention. We often hear phrases like right person, wrong time, as if love alone should be enough to overcome everything. But timing is not just about the calendar. It's about maturity, alignment, and readiness. The truth is, the right person isn't just someone you love. It's someone whose values match yours, whose actions align with their words, and whose presence brings calm instead of confusion. And if you haven't met someone like that yet, don't rush. You're not behind. Life isn't a race to find a partner. It's a journey of learning to become one. The best way to meet someone worthy of your future is to become someone who knows their own worth. Build a life you're proud of. Fill it with peace, growth, and intention. Be the kind of partner you wish to find. Emotionally aware, accountable, kind, and open-hearted. Because when you do that, something powerful happens. You stop searching for someone to complete you and start creating space for someone to walk beside you. That's when the right connection, one built not just on chemistry, but on compatibility, can finally enter your life. So yes, love deeply, hope bravely, but choose wisely. Not just the one who excites your heart, but the one who steadies it. Because in the end, true love is not about the right timing. It's about the right direction and the right intention. And most importantly, if you haven't met them yet, that's okay. Just be that person first, and the right one will recognize you when they see you. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.